All right, this last news story is interesting, to say the least. PlayStation tries to explain away their layoffs here. PlayStation Studios.
Oh no! Wait, no, you did it wrong. What was the thing you said at the beginning?
Oh, the layoffs. I would say
like
layoffs, and I said layoffs.
The why behind the lie. That's what it was.
Yeah, the why behind the lie.
PlayStation explains the why behind the lie.
PlayStation Studios aiming to continuously release hit titles, says Sony. This is from Zarmina Khan over at PlayStation Lifestyle. Sony Group has said that PlayStation Studios are aiming to consistently and continuously release hit games. To achieve this, Sony Interactive Entertainment is making an effort to refine its development processes and release schedules. PlayStation Studios developing games under new management structure. Having previously acknowledged that PlayStation Studios are struggling with maintaining sustainable profit margins despite releasing best-selling games, Sony announced that it was restructuring the PlayStation division. As part of the process, more than 900 roles were eliminated, and a new management structure was implemented under the joint CEOs Herman Hulst and Hideki Nishino. Announcing its first quarter financial results for fiscal year 2024 yesterday, Sony told investors in an earnings call that Studio Business Group is strengthening its development schedule management and optimizing development projects in order to consistently and continuously release hit titles. What a word salad there. Meanwhile, Sony's platform business group will focus on maintaining and expanding the number of active PlayStation users while strengthening user engagement. The goal is to establish a stable earnings base as a matter of priority. PlayStation did not release any major first-party blockbusters this year, but did publish quite a few console exclusives. 3 smaller first-party games are scheduled for fall 2024: Concord, Astrobot, and LEGO Horizon Adventures. So this... obviously, the main gist of this article is to talk about, hey, the plan from here on out is we're going to have a more consistent banger after banger after banger. Games. Basically, they're realizing that this taking a year off thing probably wasn't a great idea. It was probably necessary because of the shakeup at the studio, at the company, but also like, oh, this is hurting us. But I love how they also kind of sneak in there like, and this is also the reason why we've been laying off so many people the last 6 months.
All right, dude.
They kind of, in a way, passed the buck off. Like Herman Hulst, it's almost like Herman Hulst and Hulst and Nishino over there are kind of like, it was Jim Ryan's fault. We had to come in here and clean up his mess. Like that's what it kind of comes across like. It's kind of like they walked in the studio and everything was on fire. I mean, they just had to which it could have been. It could have been the case.
That part of it, I don't have a problem with, right? Because as the meme says, and of course this is a joke. I want to preface this is a joke, right? The meme is all my homies hate. I'm fine with that because all my homies hate Jim Ryan, so I don't care about that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like they're pointing to everything except for, maybe we shouldn't have made 3 or 4 $200 million games at the same time in so close together in between PS4 and PS5. Maybe we would have had some money left over to actually make more games. If we didn't do Last of Us and then Ghost and then Horizon and then remake Bloodborne all in the span of 5 or 6 years,
it's there is definitely better financial
and God of War and Spider-Man and all these other games that cost 200 million plus.
But I think that is what this article is saying, though, is that is their plan going forward, is to continue to make big games like that. But they're
already see it doesn't work.
But they're making cuts other areas in order for it to be sustainable, basically. Because what they found is it was becoming more and more sustainable or unsustainable because of how poor the management. Again, this is their words. I think that's why they had the restructuring and the layoffs, because they realized we used to be profitable making games like this, and the reason we're not now is because there's just too much bloat, and they needed to purge, which is unfortunate for the people who are in those roles, obviously. But from a business point of view, it doesn't make sense. All right, if you have people you don't really need there on staff, then why are they here? They are just burning. But
reason
But it also comes down to like they could have cut costs other ways, whether it's, you know, like we've talked about, like that games don't need to be like billions of dollars for each game. Like make smaller titles that make just as much money as those big games, but cost less to make and whatnot. Like other ways to make it work. I don't know.
It was profitable because they had a tentpole game, and then they had a bunch of AA to single A games to support around that tentpole until that tentpole game came out.
Yeah.
Right? Most PlayStation consoles maybe get in their system lifetime, they get what? We'll say in 5 to 6 years, they get 2, maybe 3, like A-level marquee putting on the back of the console box games, right?
Right.
But now, like I said, if you look at the back of a PS5 box, they've got 6 or 7 games.
I mean, yeah, the PS4 was like that, and the PS5, like since PS4, it's been like that. Yeah, it's just
right.
Like,
and that's when they started losing money. So
yeah. So I don't. On one hand, it's like, all right, I see what you're doing with the layoffs and trying to restructure and get things like back in tip-top shape. But I just hope that sentiment expands to their philosophy on game making as well. Like, all right, if you need to cut back on the people, on management and the roles and like everything, that was great. Okay, it's not, I don't like it, but okay. But don't just stop there. Like, also adjust the budgets of the game. Like, make it more reasonable, because, you know, it's, I don't know, it's just, that wasn't the only issue, you know, making the games, having too many staff wasn't the only issue. It's also the insane budgets for the game. So yeah, I guess it's one of those things where like, all right, I don't agree with it, but I see what you're doing with laying people off, but make it worth their while then. Go ahead and make games that are, again, AA, single A, whatever, but that are still very good. Don't cost as much though. Still make studio a lot. Don't just lay people off for the sake of laying people off, because I guarantee you,
please,
because if they just continue to make bigger and bigger games, another 2 or 3 years, they're gonna be like, well, we're still not making enough money, and so we're going to lay off more people. It's like, well, that's not how this works. You know, don't just keep making bigger games.
Laying people off should be like the last resort.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, we've tried everything else and nothing else is working. Unfortunately, we are going to have to let some people go.
Yeah.
Okay. At least you did like your due diligence and really tried, you know, to turn things around, and it just didn't end up panning out. Yeah. That's fine. But if your first instinct is to go after the people, I feel like your priorities are out of whack.
Yep. That's
because if you need those games made, who's going to make them if you get rid of people?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Getting rid of people should always be a last resort.
Right.
Because when you get rid of people, they might on paper look like just some low level whoever, like, all right, they're just a number on a piece of paper, but who knows? That person might have had like some incredible idea that could have just
went crazy
in the next game they were going to develop, you know, like change the entire tide of the game. And now they're gone because you wanted to save a buck instead of finding some other way to save a buck. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all pans out for PlayStation Studios. I just can't wait for them to finally put out games again. You know, it's been, they say, I mean, technically they haven't put out any games this year, but really, if you look at it, they've barely put out any games the last 4 years. So I'm just ready. It's been 4 years without a game, PlayStation. Give us something, please. Give us something interesting, entertaining. I don't know. Not to say they haven't put out good games, but you know what I mean. Something for my PlayStation. We've had the discussion before. PlayStation 5 specifically. Give me a reason.
Please. I don't want GTA 6 to be the only thing that I'm looking for this console. You know what I mean? GTA 6, Final Fantasy, which isn't even your game. You know? Like,
I mean, neither is GTA.
What are we doing?
Neither one of those are their games.
Right.
Third parties are carrying hard right now. Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.